Hey everyone, so it's getting pretty obvious that not a lot of you are watching these solo Nightfall runs anymore, at least not as many people compared to earlier in Destiny's lifecycle. The modifiers are pretty samey week to week, the strategies don't change too much, and everyone knows what they're doing by now, or at the very least has an elemental primary weapon. I originally wanted to start up a weekly Q&A video that would be uploaded on the weekends. But I didn't want to take the solo Nightfall away from the people who still liked watching it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the two. I'm going to continue to do solo the Nightfall as I've been doing, giving tips in text form in the background, but I'll also be answering some of my most frequently asked or most interesting questions that I get. I told you guys about my askFM page last week, and I've answered over 1,200 questions since then. I'm slowly learning that I can't really get to every single question though, so I apologized if you asked something and I did not get to it. But there are a lot of repeats, so I hope to answer a lot of those here in these videos on a week-to-week basis, typically stuff that's too short to make a video about. The questions will be mostly Destiny questions, but a few non-Destiny questions are thrown in there as well. So, let's get started. First question. Do you think that Bungie will make another Queen's Wrath type of thing to entertain us until the House of Wolves or anything else? I think that Destiny is getting kind of stale in my opinion. It is just getting sort of repetitive, so let me know. I think that if they were going to bring back the Queen's Wrath, they would have done it by now. The first time it came around, it felt a little, I don't want to say incomplete, but just not really fully there. It just ended up being repeating some story missions with the epic modifier on. It did give legendary gear, which was a good way for, people to catch up, but it didn't do much to alleviate the sort of repetitive feeling that you have with regards to Destiny. I thought we'd get new missions with the Queen's Wrath when it first came out, more focused on the Queen herself and the lore, but, we didn't. I expect more of a chance of the Queen's Wrath returning in House of Wolves, but I don't expect anything to happen before then. If they do have the Queen's Wrath in a better state, I think it would be cool to have it maybe happen the week before House of Wolves comes out as sort of a preface to the expansion. I think that would be a pretty cool idea. Next question, how would you rank Vault of Glass versus Crota's End weapons? I feel like Vault of Glass weapons were better. Well, let's go through them pretty quickly. Start with Heavy. Hunger of Crota versus Hez and Vengeance. I think it's pretty close there. You're basically trading an extra rocket in the chamber for tracking, and I value tracking a little bit more in PvE. Song of Ir-Yût versus Corrective Measure. I know I still see Corrective Measure a bit in PvP, so it's definitely the more popular choice, but they're pretty similar as well. High fire rate and very low impact. Special weapons, we have, Praetorian Foil versus Light of the Abyss. I think that's basically a wash. They're both pretty good fusion rifles in general. Foil has the damage advantage, but Abyss has the charge rate advantage. Found Verdict versus Swordbreaker used to be greatly in favor of Found Verdict until the shotgun buff, but I still think Found Verdict is better for PvP. Prettiest Revenge versus Black Hammer is a close one as well on an individual level, but I think Black Hammer is easily the PvE champion and Praedyth's is easily the PvP champion. Primary weapons, we have Fatebringer versus Word of Crota. Obviously, Fatebringer is going to win there. Vision of Confluence versus Fang of Ir-Yût. They're literally the same exact scout rifle, so that's a draw. Atheon's Epilogue versus Abyss Defiant. I think Abyss Defiant wins because bullet hoses just kind of suck, and the only reason anyone used an Atheon's Epilogue was for Void Nightfalls, pretty much. Finally, Timepiece versus Oversoul Edict are basically the same weapon again, but I do like the full auto on Oversoul Edict. For the most part, they're a wash. So, overall, it's pretty close. VOG weapons might edge out some Crota's End weapons in some stuff, but Crota's End weapons has the edge over Vault of Glass weapons and some other stuff, so it's moderately close. Next question, Datto, what is the best exotic bounty weapon in your opinion for PvE and PvP? The best exotic bounty weapon for PvP is probably Thorn. It is incredibly strong right now, and for PvE, I would have to say Bad Juju or Thorn. I haven't really used Thorn in PvE too much, but I think people would rather roll with Bad Juju over Thorn. at the very least, those are the two weapons that you should aim to get first. I would say you go for Thorn first if you do any level of PvP. Next question, do you think Vault of Glass weapons should be put to 331? It would help to have more damage? I'm fine with Vault of Glass weapons staying at 300. You're not going to have the ability to bring everything with you forever. I don't think it's a very pressing issue, but it wouldn't surprise me if we eventually get the possibility of upgrading weapons from the past to be brought up to the present. However, that might create a world where weapon variety becomes very stagnant and certain weapons would only be replaced if something much better came around. Let's be honest, how many people are really going to replace their Fatebringers if you could keep upgrading your Fatebringer to whatever level of content we're currently doing? Probably no one, self-included. It's a super good weapon, that's why everyone likes it. I think weapon and gear variety is good though, and with my MMO experience, I'm used to having to leave stuff behind in favor of newer stuff. However, I don't think that they should retroactively increase the damage or anything like that, though. If they are going to do that, I think it should be through upgrades. Next question, what are some good Postmaster packages to save until the DLC? I'm kind of fuzzy on what you can get. If I save Dead Orbit, Vanguard, New Monarchy, whatever Postmaster boxes, will I get House of Wolves upgraded weapons and armor, or is there no point to saving them? Anything that you earn in the Dark Below will drop Dark Below level gear or weapons. So if you save a bunch of those packages in your Postmaster from the Dark Below and then you open them up in House of Wolves, it's not going to give you House of Wolves stuff. What I'd recommend doing is getting your reputation level with all the factions incredibly close to leveling so that you only have to turn in one bounty, and that would bring you over to the next level, which would get you a package, and that package would technically be a House of Wolves package and should get you something from House of Wolves. This is all a theory, of course. It isn't absolutely confirmed to work, but it's what I will be doing at the very least. Datto, what is your actual name, and why are you called Datto? My actual name is Stefan. The reason my online persona is called Datto comes from way back when Final Fantasy X was a thing. There is a minigame in Final Fantasy X named Blitzball, and on your team was a character named Datto. Datto, when he got to really high levels, had really good shooting ability, and was also much faster than anyone else in a game of Blitzball. So I would use Datto to score a ton of goals every game, winning 10-0, 11-0, 12-0, whatever. Eventually, my friends just started calling me Datto, and that name has stuck as an online persona for over a decade. Next question, what do you think of Thorn in PvP in terms of balance? Is it too powerful at the moment, considering that it is a guaranteed two-shot kill if both hit the head? And do you think it will end up being nerfed in the Crucible in the future? Thorn is very tough to balance because of that damage over time. I think it's very strong right now because it can kill with only 2 shots. Hawkmoon can do that, sure, but it relies on a random proc to do it, whereas Thorn is basically guaranteed if you hit twice in the head. But if you make it 3 shots to kill, then it's just like every other hand cannon in the game, and it's not that special, and no one wants to use it. So it's a very fine line that they need to walk. If you make it 3 shots, not many people are going to use it. If you make it 2 shots, then it's incredibly good. So it's just a tough thing to balance. Next question, I need a clan really badly and or people to play with. What should I do? Also, how did you find the people that you play with? I phrased this question very generically because I've gotten it many times in many different formats. There are plenty of different websites out there to help you find people to play with. The one that I've been recommending for those looking for a clan is the100.io. I've been hearing very good things about it, and you should at the very least give it a try. Planet Destiny also just bought DestinyLFG.net, and I know they're looking to make that site even better. It was already really good. Destiny LFG is another great site. DestinyTracker.com has an LFG system. DestinyDB might have an LFG system, I'm not sure. And Reddit.com/r/fireteams is another great place as well. I found the group of people that I play with before Destiny even came out when I was in Prime Card. They We're looking for hardcore players for the game to take on raiding. I joined, I met everyone else who was a part of that group, and we all became friends and have now since formed Math Class. I did not know a single person from that group before the Destiny Alpha was playable. All of those friendships have been fostered over the past year. Next question, is Math Class recruiting? How can I get in? Math Class, for those who don't know, is my current clan. We have not opened up recruitment just yet as we're still getting our website together, logos, all that kind of stuff, but we're looking to open up recruitment in the next couple of weeks. We are not recruiting for anyone who is not on PS4 for Destiny because we want to keep the group together and playing together. We don't want two different groups forming with the clan. We're a very small group of people as well. I think we have maybe 25 to 28 members right now. We don't want to have a massive clan of 100 people or anything like that because we want everyone to be friends and we want other people to mesh well with each other. We want it to be more personal. We'll be looking for great Destiny players, as always. You can be from anywhere in the world as well. We don't care as long as you're able to play with us during the times that we do. We typically have the most people online in between 6 p.m. and midnight U.S. Eastern Time. We also require potential applicants to have the ability to speak on TeamSpeak, as that's what we use as our communication hub. We're also not going to be looking very hard for anyone under the age of 18. Most of us are in our mid to late 20s, and we're not looking to entertain children. More info on recruitment will become available soon. Check out my streams and my Twitter for more information as it becomes available. Hey Datto, I just got weapon from the Nightfall, and it has the bonuses, bonus 1, bonus 2. Should I keep it? This question has been asked with every weapon combination and perk combination possible. I do plan on doing a review of all the weapon classes and talking about what bonuses you should be looking for on those weapons in the very near future. Why is Titan your favorite class? Titan is my favorite class because it is versatile. With Striker Titan, you have great crowd control capabilities with Flashbang Grenade and Fist of Havoc. With Defender Titan, you have great support capabilities, providing either damage buffs or protection with Ward of Dawn, and some moderate crowd control with the Suppression Grenade, and even with Ward of Dawn itself with Helm of Saint 14. I just really like the way they play, and I think they have the best jump in the game with increased height. Next question, Datto, I'm level 20. What's the fastest way to gear up? If you want to guarantee that you'll gear yourself up, what you should do is start grinding the Vanguard and a Crucible faction of your choice. I recommend Future War Cult to rank 3 as soon as possible. Play your bounties every single day to maximize your speed. Continue to play the Vanguard Strike playlist to start gathering blue gear so you can do higher level activities. Once you can do it, you should run the Urn of Sacrifice quest chain from Eris to net yourself some vendor level gloves. The reason you should grind to rank 3, and the reason you have to grind to rank 3, is because to buy the helm and the chest, you need a commendation, which only comes from packages above rank 3. Vanguard will get you one, your Crucible faction will get you one, so you can buy the helm and the chest with each. You're going to need to grind out 200 marks of both Crucible and Vanguard, and then once you have all that, you should eventually be raid ready. Getting max level is just a matter of getting into the raid and getting the gear. So this process can be sped up by getting lucky drops or getting something from Xur as well, but rank 3 Vanguard and rank 3 something else and 200 marks of each Vanguard and Crucible marks is what you want to be aiming for if you want to guarantee gearing up. Next question, Datto, it feels like we know barely anything about you. You should do a Draw My Life, an apartment tour, or a gaming setup video. I've gotten this question a few times as well. The reason that I've been so apprehensive about doing any videos about me myself is because I never felt like anyone would care. I feel like the majority of people are here because they like the content that I make as opposed to coming here for me. However, that feeling has slowly been changing as I start to realize that, yes, there are actually people who come here to this channel for me as opposed to the things that I make. Obviously, I'd prefer if everyone came to the channel for me as opposed to the things that I make, but, you know, I understand that that's probably not going to happen just because I'm not that kind of personality type. I'm much more reserved and introverted, but I do think of myself as being relatable. I'm not trying to be someone that I'm not, and I just like to think of myself as some guy, not some big YouTuber. All that being said, I'll have something about me for those who do care pretty soon. Next question, what is the best way to farm class materials? Can I do it other than rock strikes? Unfortunately, not really. You can't really buy those materials. The closest thing you can do is, I guess, buy greens from the Cryptarch and dismantle those, but otherwise those materials come from dismantling armor, which typically just drops in the wild playing the game. The more you play on that class, the more stuff that you'll find, but that can make it difficult for those with one of each class. Next question, do you have any modifications on your controllers? Scuff, Control Freaks? What sensitivity do you play on? I use a standard PlayStation 4 controller, no extra mods or anything like that, and I play inverted on a 5 sensitivity. Next question, has anyone from Bungie given you any feedback about your raid encounter? Also, do you feel like Bungie's raid designs are designed to be aimed towards a more casual audience? Have not gotten feedback from Bungie. I don't know how many people at Bungie are watching my videos, although if you are from Bungie and you're watching my video, please give feedback, I guess. That would be awesome. I don't really feel like the raids are catered to a more casual audience, even though the game is kind of catered to a more casual audience. Bungie is still learning because, you know, these raids are things that have never been done before to this capacity in first-person shooters. The design of certain things usually allows people to abuse said design, and after a while, everyone eventually is going to become very, very good at the raid. There's not much Bungie can do about that, though. I will always be in favor of a more difficult experience or more challenging experience, but I can see why maybe if they do cater it to a more casual audience, well, I can understand why. Next question. Wait, Datto Does Cooking is a thing? Where can I find this? Datto Does Dinner is the dumbest thing that has ever been streamed on Twitch, ever. It is a cooking show where I, a very inexperienced cook, pretend that I am a veteran chef and cook up a meal. If you've ever heard the phrase, save the juices, in reference to me, that's where it comes from. If, for some reason, you'd like to watch Datto Does Dinner, they are saved as highlights on my Twitch page, also linked in the description. The next episode will be as soon as I get off my butt and prepare one. Finally, last question of the day. Any plans on expanding Datto Does Something Else? I feel like a lot of people are getting tired of or burnt out on Destiny. Do you plan on covering any other games in depth like you do with Destiny? I would definitely like to expand more on it, maybe have uploads be a little more consistent on the weekends going forward. It usually depends on if I can get some of the guys that I play with to play some stuff, and if that stuff is good that I record, then I would like to upload it, but I think I am terrible by myself, but, you know, with a bunch of us, I think it's much more enjoyable. They're a very, very interesting group of guys, and I really like playing with them. I also do want to do more streaming of non-Destiny stuff, but it just, you know, it ends up being a numbers game with regards to non-Destiny content in general. The Division is the next game that I'd really like to dig deep into and cover like I make Destiny content now. They're both similar in nature, although The Division is much more RPG focused, according to a lot of interviews, whereas Destiny is more first-person shooter focused. I think the two audiences will have a lot of overlap, though, so I think a good amount of my audience would stick around for The Division, but, you know, once again, it's a numbers game. I don't really like talking about the numbers game. Anyway, that was our first weekly Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will continue this next week. Hopefully, if enough of you liked it, we can continue to keep doing it. But that's going to do it for me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.